Hey guys, Leah Michelle Resistance Chicks. It is April 9th, 2017. It's Palm Sunday. So this is actually for me personally the most key element to this entire Syrian thing, and his name is Jared Kushner. He is...
That's him right behind me when he was visiting
Mr.
a
Pretty
combat
Boy.
zone here.
Preppy. Look at those muscles. His arms have got to be half the size of mine.
We can make fun of him because he shows up with these American soldiers in like
a blazer,
Ray-Bans and these and khaki pants, and what trended yesterday and I think the day before was Fire Kushner. It was just yesterday.
On Twitter. Oh, it's all over.
Yeah, and a lot of funny hashtags.
There's one that says, "I'm sorry, sir, manicures are not on our top priority."
Or, you know, how did you get here? You know, I worked my way up, and he's like, well, I'm now your boss. You know, I'm not elected, but I'm now your boss. And then I can decide what happens all over the world. Yeah. And who is this person we know very little about? We do know for a fact that he is a lifelong liberal Manhattan Democrat.
Yeah. We also know that there has been a sort of feud between Kushner and Bannon within the Trump administration, and there has been a kind of a push to get Bannon isolated away from Donald Trump. And
it was leaked that Bannon looked at Kushner and said, "You're a globalist. You are a globalist. You don't want America first. You don't want anything that your father-in-law wants."
And how do we know that he's a globalist? The biggest, you want to drop the big bombshell now?
Well, here, I'm just going to read, this is the summation real quick.
That's fine.
Through his wife, Ivanka Trump, Jared Kushner has become a dominant force against the nationalist populism that got Donald Trump elected, promoting globalism and elitism in the White House, bringing in buddies, top people, right? Bankers, real estate people. He's a Democrat whose policy ideas and beliefs are opposite of Donald Trump. He's been instrumental in promoting Goldman Sachs COO and fellow Democrat Gary Cohn to a key position in the White House, where he is now the chief economic advisor to the president, the director of the National Economic Council, and a more and more dominant role in President Trump's ear. All right, so I wanted to give this little visual to you. President Trump's ear.
They can't see
Trump,
what's in front of your
right?
face.
Not a bad guy. But when you have bad people
listening
and whispering in your ear, that's going to cause death to come out, right? Sorry, I'm back here. So, where am I?
Number 3.
Intern, Gary Cohn brought Andrew Quinn into the White House. Quinn was a major negotiator for the controversial TPP trade agreement, which Donald Trump said over and over again, "I'm not going to move. I hate the TPP. I'm going to get rid of the TPP." Cohn is also a close ally of Dinah Powell, who is Ivanka Trump's advisor, who has become the Deputy National Security Advisor. Powell's husband is a president at Tenneco, a consulting firm tightly connected to the Clintons.
Tenneco,
sorry. So that was a C. Powell herself is friends with Valerie Jarrett, and who currently lives with the Obamas.
You guys.
These are bad slime swamp monsters. Jared Kushner's wife and the president's daughter, Ivanka Trump, is friends with Chelsea Clinton and Huma Abedin. Now, I knew this going in. I tried to ignore it. I tried not to think about it. But she literally said after the election, "No, Chelsea and I, we're still great friends." Like, how can you be friends with you know that your friend's parent is one of the worst warmongering, okay, we're not going to go into Hillary Clinton. You know who she is. Jared Kushner made the decision to fire missiles at Syria despite it violating Donald Trump's previous stated policies. They're saying that Jared Kushner pushed this. I don't know how, but that's the word on the street. Jared Kushner is, and we're going to study this, further beholden to globalist interests by the fact that he's the beneficiary of a $250 million loan or line of credit from who?
George Soros.
And this is true. It came out of Forbes magazine. Jared Kushner has been trying to push Steve Bannon out of the administration and remake the White House.
So I want to go next, if we can, quickly to the AOL article. Oh, no, go to the Soros thing. That's fine.
Okay, so George Soros backed Jared Kushner venture cadre with $250 million. Now, you can say, well,
you got to get your loan from somewhere, right?
But the Kushner family has ties with George Soros, and the Forbes magazine article gave a history on how Jared's grandparents came here. They were in concentration camps in Uzbekistan, I believe, or Czechoslovakia. Sorry, can't remember everything, right? So they came over here, and Jared's father was a construction worker in New York, and he began to, at one time, he managed the buildings that he helped build, and he managed like 4,000 of them, and then he decided, I want to own them. So he began to own them. Well, long story short, Jared's dad went to prison for tax evasion and a couple other things. He was away for 2 years in jail, right? So he comes out, and they're like, well, Dad, you can't actually, you know, be CEO anymore. So Jared and his brother, they run a bunch of companies, right? And real estate, and they have this company here. It turns out that George Soros is the money behind a new real estate venture called Cadre, which was founded by Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, and his brother, Joshua Kushner. The Real Deal has uncovered the fact that George Soros was the man who provided Cadre with a $259 million line of credit. The source told the publication, Soros has had a long and productive relationship with the Kushner family.
So if Soros is being productive, y'all know what that means.
How is it that somebody whose family even touches George Soros, you will die?
Or you are just as evil as he is.
Seriously, it's just, I can't even believe it. Cadre is an online marketplace that connects investors and operators of real estate. The company states that it enables investors to sell their interest on the secondary marketplace, thereby introducing liquidity into an antiquated industry. Cadre was founded by Ryan Williams and Josh and Jared Kushner and was launched in 2014. While George Soros has provided the venture with credit, the company has so far raised $6.83 million in 2 rounds from 8 different investors, including 50 from
That's not important. So why would George Soros agree to help a new venture from Jared Kushner, who is now serving as an advisor in the Donald Trump White House?
After all, Soros and Trump really seem to hate one another. Well, it's like the famous line from The Godfather, it's just business, nothing personal. Besides, George Soros offered credit to Jared Kushner and his brother Joshua and not Donald Trump. That's what they're saying, right? In other news, it goes on to say what he's doing.
Here's the thing. It doesn't matter. The fact is that George Soros is not just handing out $259 million lines of credit to just anybody.
Right.
Okay, if you're receiving money or even a line of credit from George Soros, you're not my friend. And there is definitely something there. And Jared Kushner is now, like, pretty much, it was supposed to be Steve Bannon that was like Trump's top advisor. And now it's Jared Kushner, who is a child. Okay, I don't care if he's older than me, he's a child. Okay, I'm not advising Trump. Obviously, I don't know anything either, but still, I'm just saying, this is not how our country is run.
He doesn't know anything about military. He doesn't know anything about war. He doesn't know anything about Syria.
He has no credentials whatsoever, except in, like, real estate. Okay, and being a Manhattan
his dad
playboy.
showed him how to do it illegally too.
All right, so go to the AOL article. I want to bring that up next. AOL had put out this article, and I always
Michelle's like, dude,
when you can get information from AOL spinning something, you know what I mean? It really says a lot. Let's see. President Donald Trump, backed by advisors, Ivanka Trump and Jared Kushner, his daughter and son-in-law, is reportedly planning a centrist push in an attempt to recover from a rocky start to his presidency. And I'm like, who said that there was a rocky start to his presidency to begin with? Now, all of a sudden, he launches missiles into Syria, and his Democratic son-in-law is being pushed to the center or pushed to the top of the totem pole, and now all of a sudden, Donald Trump's becoming a centrist. He's coming back from the alt-right, okay, and coming to the center. White House chief...
I'm sorry, it just bothers me all of a sudden now. I am so slow. Why isn't her name Ivanka Kushner? Why isn't it Ivanka Trump Kushner?
That's a good question. She's an independent woman, I suppose. White House Chief of Staff Reince Priebus is with the program. A senior White House official told Axway, I don't even know how to say that, but it isn't clear if Chief Strategist Steve Bannon is. The shift from Bannon's slash and burn approach to a more competent and results-driven one comes as the top Trump aide and former Breitbart head grows increasingly isolated within the administration. Now, I want to translate that to you because they're in mainstream media speak, and I'm going to tell you what they just said. What they just said is that Bannon goes in and he's just like wailing his arms around like some sort of wild animal that doesn't ever get any results. But when Bannon gets pushed to the side and all of a sudden Trump or Kushner is in the middle, now we're really getting results because of course, until Kushner was risen to the top.
The mainstream media has always said, well, hopefully Jared Kushner will be able to keep Donald Trump in line.
Right.
Jared and Ivanka, they'll keep him in line. They'll keep him with the New World Order and the globalism. They'll keep him going.
So AOL continues with its weird narrative here.
Just to be clear, I don't actually, personally, I don't think that Ivanka is that way. I don't think that I think that there's actually infighting amongst them all. I think that she truly did support her father's vision and her father supporting the people's vision. Like, it might not be her opinion, but I think that she really did want to put forth her dad's vision. But I don't trust Jared.
But Ivanka is a Democrat, so we have to take that into consideration just to put it out there.
And she's friends with Chelsea, too.
And she's friends with Chelsea and Huma Abedi.
But I do believe, I personally believe that she put that aside to push forth her dad's agenda. But Kushner doesn't have that same kind of, I'm going to help Trump.
No, he has George Soros giving him money.
Right.
All right. Bannon reportedly threatened to quit the administration after he was demoted from the National Security Council this week and has been engaged in high-profile feud with Kushner, whose role in the White House has expanded in recent weeks.
Bannon's out. This happened, and then there's a strike.
Hello, it should speak volumes. Kushner has apparently taken issue with Bannon's stated desire to deconstruct the government, while Bannon has slurred Kushner as a globalist. Conservatives picked up the feud on Twitter using the competing hashtags Fire Kushner and Fire Bannon. I think there was much more Fire Kushner hashtags than Fire Bannon. In a proxy battle for the soul of the Trump administration. Why is it that the soul of the Trump administration is lying on two people that aren't Trump? That's a good question. For its part, the administration has publicly denied that a shakeup is in the works. On Friday, the White House released a statement saying, and I think this is kind of key. This is the White House statement. Remember, we're listening to AOL spin stuff, but this came from the White House. The only thing we are shaking up is the way Washington operates as we push the president's aggressive agenda forward. So Leah and I are hopeful that Trump is getting the message from the people that are saying, whoa, wait a minute, you know what I mean? It says, Bannon, who was once dubbed President Bannon for the amount of power he wielded in the White House, has suffered dismal poll numbers in the wake of humiliating failures of the Trump's Muslim bans and the American Health Care Act. Now tell me, why is it that Steve Bannon is taking the heat?
Kushner was the one who brought in Zeke Emanuel, the architect of Obamacare, to help tweak it.
Exactly.
It's Kushner's fault.
It's all Kushner's fault, and yet they're shifting blame like they always do.
Kushner has stake in healthcare.
Now listen to this. Listen to this sentence. I love how they end it with Axoy reports, but they start the sentence with saying that Bannon will be forced out of the administration if he doesn't adopt a more cooperative approach. Axoy reports. They reported that, but the way that they put that at the end, they're stating it as a statement. If Bannon doesn't line up, he's going to be pushed out completely. That was a threat. Okay. Meanwhile, Trump enjoyed a rare bipartisan praise and cable news funding after ordering a missile attack on a Syrian airbase in response to a deadly chemical attack by the Bashar al-Assad regime last week. I think Donald Trump became president of the United States last night. CNN's Fareed Zakaria said Friday, the day after the airstrikes. In a Facebook post Friday, Dan Rather criticized the media's response to Trump's Syrian strike, writing that the role of the press is to ask the hard questions and to regard the administration with a healthy skepticism that it deserves. The number of members of the press who have lauded the actions last night as presidential is concerning, Rather wrote.
He didn't get the memo.
War must never be considered a public relations operation. It is not a way for an administration to gain a narrative. Trump was also praised as presidential after giving his first address to Congress, and we get all that. So here we have AOL admitting that CNN and all of these other mainstream media outlets are all praising Trump and calling him presidential because of something that he did, that he listened to his tiny little son-in-law wearing his skinny little khaki pants and blue blazer when he goes to visit these soldiers.
So
I think that
Jared Kushner's family, just FYI, together, his parents and his brother and her, they are worth $1.8 billion. Just
follow the money, folks. When you have somebody like that is now completely influencing the president of the United States.
Healthcare. He's got some funding through George Soros.
George Soros makes everything in this world happen that's bad. Okay? And so if he is funding Jared Kushner and Jared Kushner is pushing Trump to go to war in Syria, and it is making Hillary Clinton happy, it's making John McCain happy, it's making all of the mainstream media giddy, and we covered Brian Williams going, oh, what a beautiful sight as the missiles fly through the air. You guys, come on. Let's wake up. We are supporting President Trump, and by doing so, we are going to speak out against the evil that is in that administration right now, and it has to stop. You know what? I'm going to start hashtag pray for Bannon. Pray for him and pray for Trump. Pray for Bannon, pray for Trump, because this is getting serious. There is a coup happening right now by the deep state.
So this was written in just a couple weeks ago, about 10 days. Is George Soros behind this plot to topple Trump?
Yes.
The mainstream media hates him. Hollywood hates him. The intellectually yet idiot academia class hates him. Most critically, the CIA hates him. So does the rest of the deep state or the permanently entrenched national security bureaucracy. They did everything possible to stop Trump from taking office. None of it worked. I think the CIA hates Trump for the very simple reason he's threatening to take away their livelihood. Trump wants to make nice, or did, with Russia and Putin, but countering the so-called Russian threat is how many thousands of deep state bureaucrats are making a living. Because there's a Russian threat. There's a Russian threat. They don't have to counter it, but they have to counter it and make it up. These people feed off of a trough of $1 trillion plus in military and a security budget, right? Playing nice with the Russians would kill their jobs and their way of life. Trump has said, we will pursue a new foreign policy that finally learns from the mistakes of the past. We will stop looking to topple regimes and overthrow governments. But toppling regimes is the CIA's bread and butter. No wonder they hate them. Of course, the feeling is mutual. Trump has plenty of sharp words to describe the intelligence community. He's reportedly aiming to fundamentally reconstruct the CIA. Restructure it. Okay? So there's a bunch of things here, but what I wanted to get to was all the different.
Let's remember that Kennedy tried to go after the CIA and take them down.
Remember how he said there was a clandestine government?
Yeah, that ended really well for Kennedy when he tried to take on the CIA. So you guys need to understand, when Trump is taking on the CIA, it is serious business, and those people get stuff done.
So here's the thing: the deep state has three main cards. The delegitimation card, which is what they've been playing over and over again. The Herbert Hoover card, and then the John F. Kennedy card, right? First, the delegitimization card. There's a joke, and then here's this joke. I didn't quite get it because I didn't read this first. And then I read that you'll get it when the coup d'etats over the past 13 years that the CIA has done. In Serbia, it was called the Bulldozer Revolution in 2000, the Rose Revolution in Georgia in 2003, the Orange and the Euro Maidan Revolutions in Ukraine in 2004 and the 2014, the Tulip Revolution in Kyrgyzstan, where those, I believe that's the place where those terrorists were coming from. There's a lot that...
These are the most ridiculous names. I mean, right. You can just go to the article and read them all. You guys get the idea. The jeans, saffron, green, grape, colorful, all this stuff.
So, but here's how it works. Soros's NGOs would help fund and organize professional protesters. Then they'd use color-specific branding to help rally others to their cause. So these regime changes happen through George Soros's funding, right? And so here you've got this guy, Jared Kushner, who is receiving funding, okay? When people think of President Hoover, they mostly think of the Great Depression. Throughout the 1920s, the Federal Reserve's easy money policies helped create an enormous stock market bubble. In August 1929, the Fed raised interest rates and effectively ended the easy credit. Only a few months later, the bubble burst on Black Tuesday, October 1929. Barely 7 months after Hoover took office, the Dow lost over 12% that day. It was the most devastating stock market crash in the U.S. at that point. So this happened on Hoover's watch, and because of that, people pinned the blame squarely on him, regardless of where the fault lied. Hoover inherited a stock market bubble near its peak fueled by the Fed's easy money policies. This person says, I think Trump has too, and he knows it.
I think Trump has too.
In recent months, he's called the stock market a big, fat, ugly bubble. There's an excellent chance that this bubble will burst on Trump's watch. And then they will pin the blame on Trump. And then you've got the John F. Kennedy card where Chuck
These
Schumer,
are all the different things that these cards we're talking about that they can use, that they have historically used successfully to delegitimize a president or to literally take him out. And here we go to the JFK.
The last one is, remember when Chuck Schumer came out and he said, let me tell you what, if you mess with the CIA, they got 7 ways in Sunday to take you out. I wouldn't mess with the CIA. Well, what do you mean you wouldn't mess with the CIA? Now, there are only 3 possible outcomes. Trump will defeat the deep state. Yay! The deep state will co-opt Trump. Boo! Boo. The deep state will overthrow Trump. Bad. Boo. So, what... You guys, so when we come out and we say, there's a little bit more to this Syria thing.
Right.
And I'm glad about it. I'm so glad because it brings to the light. Before Syria, people were just like, Kushner's bad, Kushner's bad. And all of a sudden, Kushner! It's Kushner! You know what I mean? And so it's great that we're bringing the rats to the light. So now, you know, fire Kushner. Get him out of there. He's a Democrat. He doesn't belong in Trump's office. Not that the Democrats wouldn't, we can do, I'd rather have Tulsi Gabbard in there any day of the week, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But his ideals don't line up with
Kushner is like
the people who voted Trump in office.
A tumor that they know is cancerous, but it's not growing, and so they say we're just going to watch it and maybe it'll sit, and then overnight it grows and it's this big. That's what just happened with Kushner. Right. So, I mean, listen, as far as I don't exactly speak for Leah, I think she's close to me, but I mean, my narrative is this. It's all Kushner's fault, which actually goes back to George Soros and the Globalist. He's in the pocket of all of these. He's a little guy. He really is a little fish. But what's unfortunate about this little fish is he's right there in the ear of Donald Trump, and he is able to bring in other people and surround Donald Trump with bad hombres.
Bad hombres.
All right, so we need to sign off here. There's so much more we could cover on Kushner, and you know what, we're probably going to keep bringing it. And our prayer is fire Kushner, pray for Bannon, get Bannon back into being in the ear.
More patriots in there too, man.
Exactly. All right, you guys.
Patriots.
Yes.
We want salt to the earth in there, man.
But they are systematically trying to take them out, and they started with General Flynn.
When Flynn left, I cried. I cried because I knew that for all of his faults that he may or may not have, I was like, that man was a patriot. He loved his country for real, man. He was woke. But he was red-pilled.
He was, yeah.
He was red-pilled.
All right, you guys. This is Leah Michelle signing off for Resistance Chicks, where it is not just a conspiracy theory if it is the truth. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Mass Faith 3 and Resistance Chicks. Ring the bell for notifications. And find us on Facebook and Twitter. We love you guys. God bless. We have hope that Trump is going to wake up from this terrible, terrible nightmare. He's going to come out of this stupor that he's in. All right. We love you guys.
Yes.
Cold, all alone, no place for home, every day, so afraid, but you call my name.